What I am about to tell you is not a secret that belongs to the few. It belongs to you. But you will only receive it when you turn inward and begin to listen, not to the voices of the world, but to the still small voice within yourself. For the world outside is merely a mirror, reflecting the world within. And the moment you understand that truth, you will stop wasting your energy on things outside of your control. You will begin to focus on yourself, and in doing so, you will discover the power of silence. Man does not need to announce his greatness to the world. He needs only to feel it in the silence of his own being. The one who truly knows himself has no need to convince anyone else. The power that creates worlds is not loud. It is not boastful. It is still. It is quiet. It is certain. And it dwells within you. The moment you begin to focus on yourself, the moment you withdraw your attention from appearances, from the noise of opinions, judgments, and comparisons, you begin to reclaim your power. Most people live outward lives. Their senses are turned outward. They react, they compare, they chase, they seek validation from others because they have not yet validated themselves within. But when you become still and go within, you find something so profound, so secure, that the opinions of others fall away like dust in the wind. When I say to focus on yourself, I do not mean to become selfish in the way the world understands selfishness. I mean to become inwardly aware, to return your attention to the one thing that shapes your world, your imagination. For your outer world is nothing more than the projection of your inner conversations, your inner beliefs, your assumptions. When you focus on yourself, you begin to notice what you have been thinking, what you have been imagining, what you have been assuming, and then you can change it. The world is not asking you to speak louder. It is asking you to become more aligned with the truth of who you are. When you are aligned, you do not need to shout. You do not need to post, to boast, to argue. You simply become. You become the thing you once chased. And when you become, the world bends itself to you. The great secret is not in shouting your goals to the world. It is in feeling them as already accomplished, in the silence of your own being. You don't need to tell the world what you are going to do. You need only to imagine that it is already done. Walk in that feeling. Live in that assumption. Speak to yourself in silence. Speak to yourself with conviction. Say inwardly, I am and not I will be. For all things exist in the eternal now. I have said it many times. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. But assumption is not loud. It is not broadcasted. It is felt. It is entered into like a dream. And the man who dwells in the state of the wish fulfilled lives from it, not toward it. He focuses on his inner world. He stays silent, not because he has nothing to say, but because he knows that what is seen will come from what is unseen. He does not need to convince anyone, because he has already convinced himself. The outer world is a shadow. It is an echo. It is always late to the scene. You do not plant a seed and then scream at the ground to grow. You do not pull at the roots. You trust. You water. You tend. And you wait in silence, knowing the harvest is inevitable. So it is with your desires. Plant them in the soil of your imagination. Water them with attention and love. And then wait in silence, knowing that the law is certain. You will reap what you sow, not what you say, but what you sow inwardly. There is an old proverb that says, a wise man once said nothing. And why? Because a wise man knows that words are powerful, but silence is divine. In silence you commune with the infinite. In silence you receive impressions, inspiration, and instructions from the higher realms of your being. In silence you see clearly, feel deeply, and know without needing to explain. The outer world clamors for attention. The inner world rewards it. Do not be fooled by the appearance of movement in others. Just because someone is loud, visible, or seems to be ahead, does not mean they are truly progressing. Real transformation is silent. It happens within. It is unseen until the fruit appears. And even then, it is not shouted from the rooftops. It simply is. A flower does not announce its bloom. It blossoms in silence. And yet it is seen, admired, and remembered. So it is with you. Become as the flower. Bloom inwardly. Let the fragrance of your consciousness spread without effort. You need not explain yourself. You need not seek applause. The only recognition you need is from the self within. Speak to that self daily. Commune with it. Live from it. That is the secret to manifestation. Here is another truth. Not everyone will understand your silence. They will ask what you are doing, why you are not sharing, why you are so quiet. But you must resist the temptation to explain, for explaining is often a subtle form of doubt. When you truly know, you do not need to explain. When you truly believe, you do not need to defend. You simply live. You simply embody. If someone asks, "What are you doing?" you can smile and say, "I am being." That is enough. Being is the source of all doing. When you are aligned within, right action follows without. But most people try to fix the outside while neglecting the inside. They chase outcomes instead of creating states. But states create outcomes. So focus on your state of being. Ask yourself, what am I assuming about myself? What am I imagining when I am alone? What am I repeating in the silence of my mind? These are the seeds of your life. You cannot escape your assumptions. You cannot outrun your imagination. Wherever you go, there you are. And what you are imagining will follow you like a shadow. So make it beautiful. Make it rich. Make it noble. And keep it silent. There is sacredness in secrecy. There is holiness in silence. Do not waste your energy explaining your dreams to those who cannot see. You are not obligated to make others understand. Some things are meant to be felt, not spoken. Some things are meant to be protected, not broadcasted. Your desire is your responsibility. Guard it with silence. Feed it with imagination. Nourish it with faith. And release it with trust. Focus on yourself, not to escape the world, but to remake it. The world you see is the outer shell of your beliefs. Change the belief, and the world changes. But you cannot do this if your attention is scattered. You must become inner focused. You must become single-eyed. For a double-minded man receives nothing. He is unstable in all his ways. But the man who knows who he is, who sees clearly in silence, who dwells in the end, he receives everything. You do not need to compete. You do not need to strive. You need only to enter the state of being, where what you desire is already true. This is the great secret of creation. It is finished. Everything you desire already exists in the invisible. Your task is not to make it happen. Your task is to become the one for whom it has already happened. And how do you do this? By assuming the feeling. By living inwardly in the result. And then be silent. Let the world catch up to your assumption. Your silence is not emptiness. It is fullness. It is the fullness of faith. When you stop talking about what you're going to do, and start living as if it's already done, you've entered a new dimension of power. The man who talks constantly of riches does not yet feel rich. But the man who feels rich need say nothing. His world will reflect it. This is the art of the mystic. To feel deeply, to imagine vividly, to trust completely, and to speak only when moved by inner conviction. Your inner speech, your self-talk, is the real conversation. It is what the universe listens to. It is what creates your reality. So train your inner speech to be in alignment with your desire, and let your outer speech be minimal, measured, and meaningful. There is a sacred power in withdrawing. When you retreat from the noise of the world, you find the silence of the soul, and in that silence you hear truth. You feel guidance. You become clear. You remember who you are, and who you are is not defined by circumstance, by status, or by the opinions of others. Who you are is the dreamer, the creator, the imaginer of reality. So I say again, focus on yourself, not in selfishness, but in spiritual integrity. Withdraw from gossip, from comparison, from constant explanations. Become inwardly alive. Speak to yourself words of power. See yourself as already having, already being, already living the life you desire. Do not discuss it. Do not defend it. Do not dilute it by exposing it to the doubt of others. Keep it sacred. Keep it silent. You will see miracles do not come with noise. They come quietly, like the rising of the sun. And when your miracle comes, it will not need an announcement. It will shine on its own. And you will know that it came because you believed in silence. You assumed in solitude. You focused on yourself while the world was distracted. You do not need more effort. You need more awareness. You need more awareness. You need more alignment. And both are found in the silence of the self. Do not run to the world for confirmation. The world is the echo. You are the cause. Change your inner world, and the outer world must follow. So be still, and know. Be silent and imagine. Be quiet and feel. Speak to yourself the language of the fulfilled. I am. I have. It is done. And do not waver. Let your silence be your faith. Let your inner world be your temple. And let the world wonder how it happened. For the man who knows the law does not need to shout. He only needs to assume and remain silent. In that silence, all things are made new. In that silence you create a new heaven and a new earth. Focus on yourself. Stay silent. And the world will unfold before you, not because you forced it, but because you became it. The more you practice this inner stillness, the more you will find that your life begins to reflect your deepest assumptions, without the need for noise, without the need for effort. You will become magnetic, not by striving but by being. You will attract not by persuasion, but by vibration. For everything responds to the feeling you hold in silence. That silent knowing, that unspoken certainty, becomes the true language of creation. Think about this deeply. The most profound shifts in your life did not happen because of what you said out loud. They happened because of what you decided quietly, inwardly. A moment of deep internal decision, a shift in feeling, did more than hours of talking ever could. You didn't need to announce it. You just needed to know it. And from that knowing, the world began to rearrange itself. This is the mystery of the kingdom within. This is the secret that changes everything. What you think of yourself is the cornerstone of your reality. And those thoughts, those assumptions, are mostly silent. They play in the background like soft music, barely audible, but always directing the show. Change that inner soundtrack. Make it beautiful. Make it powerful. Do it quietly. You don't need to share your playlist with the world. Just live it. If you knew how sacred your desires are, you wouldn't speak them so easily. You would protect them. You would nourish them in secret. You would allow them to grow strong before they are seen. Just as the seed grows in the dark soil before it breaks the surface, so too must your dreams grow in the darkness of your inner silence. Do not expose the seed too early. Let it germinate. Let it take root. Let your imagination be the soil, and your emotion the water. Every day, when you are alone, return to the vision. Close your eyes, and see it again. Not as something you want, but as something you are. Feel it. Touch it with your mind. Enter the scene. Live from it. Not toward it, but from it. And then carry that feeling with you into the world. Quietly. No announcement. No explanation. Just silent embodiment. And when doubt creeps in, and it will return to silence. Do not argue with doubt. Do not wrestle with fear. Simply return to the state. Go within. Remind yourself of who you are. I am already that which I seek. Speak it inwardly. Feel it fully. And then let the silence carry it. The loudest voice in your life should be your own inner speech, not the noise of the world. And your inner speech should be clear, confident, and consistent. Not desperate, not pleading, just knowing. The language of creation is assumption. The currency of the universe is feeling, and the medium is silence. This is why all transformation begins in stillness. You must make time to withdraw. You must step back from the noise of social media, the opinions of others, the constant comparison. Those things will always pull you outward. They will scatter your focus. But your power is in concentration. It is in single-mindedness. It is in your ability to focus on one assumption, one end, one reality, and dwell there silently. Do not confuse silence with inactivity. You are doing the most powerful thing when you are imagining vividly and feeling deeply. That is creation. That is divine work. That is prayer in its highest form. Not begging for what you want, but assuming it's already yours, and then walking in that truth, calmly, silently, peacefully. Look around you. The world has been shaped by those who dared to focus inward. The inventions, the movements, the revolutions, they were all born in silence before they were shouted. And the ones who carried the most influence often began with quiet conviction, not noise, not spectacle, but a deep inner vision. You have that same power. It is within you now. It does not need to be earned. It only needs to be recognized. And to recognize it, you must become still. The noise of the outer world drowns the whisper of God within. But when you go quiet, when you turn inward, that whisper becomes clear. That voice guides you. It reminds you. It directs you. You were never meant to chase anything. You were meant to assume, to feel, to be, and then to let it come to you. This is the law of assumption. This is the way of the mystic. You don't force the flower to bloom. You align with the conditions of blooming, and it happens naturally. The same is true of your life. Most people fear silence because they are afraid of facing themselves. But you must welcome it. You must cherish it. For only in silence can you see what you truly believe. And when you find a belief that no longer serves you, you don't need to fight it. You don't need to post about it. You simply replace it, silently, inwardly, consistently. Then, without warning, everything begins to shift. Not because you made a public declaration, but because you made a private decision. That is the power of inward transformation. It does not ask for attention. It does not ask for attention. It does not seek applause. It simply becomes, and the world must follow. Stay silent, not because you are unsure, but because you are certain. Stay silent, not because you are hiding, but because you are revealing to yourself what is already true. And when you finally step into the world, you will not need to say a word. Your being will speak louder than any voice ever could. You will walk differently, think differently, move differently, and others will notice, but they won't know why. That is the beauty of inner work. It cannot be seen, but its effects are undeniable. And it all begins with focus, with withdrawing from distractions, with remembering who you are, with living in the state of the wish fulfilled, silently, powerfully, certainly. Continue practicing this, not just once, not just when things are hard, but daily. Turn within each morning. Return to yourself each night. Assume the feeling of the life you desire, and live from that state. Let your inner world become more real than anything you see with your eyes. Speak only when it adds power to your assumption. Otherwise, remain inwardly aligned. Do not discuss your plans. Live them. Do not defend your path. Walk it. Do not seek approval. Approve of yourself. This is how you reclaim your power. This is how you become the cause, rather than the effect. This is how you rise, silently, inwardly, divinely. The world will try to distract you. It will try to pull you out of alignment. It will offer you reasons to doubt, to explain, to argue. But you must remember, none of that matters. All that matters is the state you occupy, the story you tell yourself when no one is watching. That is your creation. That is your reality. That is your true voice. Stay in that place, not once, not occasionally, but constantly. That is how mountains move, not through effort, but through inner conviction. And that conviction is born in silence. When others speak loudly of their fears, their doubts, their limitations, do not answer. Let them speak if they must. But you remain rooted in your silence, anchored in your inner knowing. You are not here to convince anyone. You are not here to convert. You are here to embody. You are here to embody. You are here to become. The world does not need your explanation. It needs your demonstration. Your silence is not passive. It is magnetic. It draws to you the life you assume is yours. It commands reality, not with noise, but with stillness. It is the mark of mastery, to be unmoved by the outer and fully persuaded by the inner. For the outer is only the echo. The inner is the origin. Speak only to align yourself, never to explain your vision to those who cannot see it. The most sacred work is done in secret. The greatest transformations happen in solitude. If you are going through something right now, don't rush to tell the world. Go within. Ask, what am I assuming about myself? And change the assumption not through loud affirmations, but through feeling. Feel differently. Assume differently. And hold that state in silence. That is how you move from one reality to another. You must become so devoted to your own consciousness that nothing pulls you out of it. Whether someone praises you or criticizes you, it should not matter. Whether the world agrees or rejects you, it should not sway you. Why? Because your life is not shaped by them. It is shaped by the assumptions you hold about yourself in silence. You are not waiting on a miracle. You are the miracle, waiting to be realized. But you cannot realize it in the noise. You cannot hear the whisper of your true self if you are constantly reacting to the world. That's why silence is the secret. In that stillness, you begin to hear the voice that says, I am. And when you answer that voice with a feeling, I am wealthy, I am loved, I am chosen, and you persist in that feeling quietly, the whole universe begins to conform to that identity. This is not theory. This is not metaphor. This is law. The law of consciousness. The law of assumption. The only law that matters when it comes to your reality. You are not separate from what you desire. You only appear to be because you've accepted the lie that the world outside has more power than the world within. But once you return to yourself, once you focus and remain silent, you will see the outer bends to the inner. Always. Train yourself to remain loyal to your vision. Not out loud, not in arguments, but in quiet resolve. Be the one who doesn't need to talk about what's coming, because you already live in it. Others will feel it. They'll wonder what changed. But you will know it was the silence. It was the decision. It was the choice to believe and feel in secret. If you want to manifest love, become love in silence. Don't beg. Don't chase. Don't explain. Be drilled. The feeling that you are already loved beyond measure. And watch as people begin to reflect that back to you. Not because you told them what to do, but because you silently decided who you are. If you want wealth, do not speak about the lack. Do not share the struggle. Go inward and feel what it means to be wealthy. Walk as one who has already received. Think as one who lacks nothing. And then watch how life shifts. Not gradually, but in ways that feel miraculous. It all begins in the unseen. It begins in imagination. And imagination is most powerful when used silently. Not to escape reality, but to create it. Use your mind as your workshop. Build there. Assume there. Feel there. And then carry that feeling with you. Not on your tongue, but in your being. Others may not understand this. Let them misunderstand. You are not here to be understood by the world. You are here to understand yourself. You are here to know that your inner world is the cause of all outer effects. That's why you must protect it. That's why you must be silent. There is something sacred about your vision. Don't cast your pearls before swine. Don't water down your dream to make it digestible for others. It is not their dream. It is yours. And it is real the moment you feel it. That feeling is your proof. You don't need validation. You only need alignment. This is the way of the mystic, the sage, the awakened one. Not loud, not boastful, but steady, silent, certain. There is power in restraint. There is strength in not needing to prove. That is when the universe begins to move. That is when everything conspires in your favor. Your silence becomes the signal. Your imagination becomes the instruction. And your feeling becomes the permission. You are not waiting on anyone to give you the life you desire. You are giving yourself permission to be it now. Not someday. Not eventually. Now. So begin today. Withdraw your energy from things that don't feed your vision. Stop explaining. Stop defending. Focus. Assume. Feel. And hold that inner state in silence. Let it grow strong. Let it become unshakable. And the day will come when the vision becomes visible. When what you felt in silence becomes so undeniable that the world must reflect it. And still you will not boast. You will not shout. You will smile, knowing the truth, that you created this not by demanding, not by chasing, but by becoming. That is the secret. That is the law. That is your power. In conclusion, remember this: the world does not need to hear your plans, your explanations, or your struggles. It needs to see your embodiment of your vision. Your life will not be shaped by what you say, but by what you silently assume and feel within. Your true power lies not in the noise you make, but in the stillness from which you operate. The moment you choose to focus on yourself and remain silent, you begin to align with the infinite creative force that shapes the universe. The outer world will reflect your inner certainty, quietly, effortlessly, and powerfully. It is time to stop chasing, to stop proving, to stop explaining. Instead, turn inward. Feel the reality you desire, deeply and quietly. Assume it is already yours, and let the universe move in accordance with your belief. The greatest transformations are born in silence. The most profound manifestations come not from loud declarations, but from silent conviction. You are the creator of your reality, and that creation begins in silence. Stay true to your inner vision, and let your silent knowing be the catalyst for all that you wish to experience. Be still, be confident, and watch the world around you change. Not because you forced it, but because you quietly assumed it to be so. Now step forward in your silent power, and let the world follow the path you've already created.